Hey, and welcome back to Game Talk. I'm your host, Evan Beyond. Today I'm joined by Connor
Hey guys.
and Mike.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk about Palworld. So I've been playing this game like a maniac. I think I already have 15 hours in it.
Oh my god.
And for context, I started playing this Sunday evening. So that
Oh
should
my
tell you.
God.
And today is Tuesday afternoon. So you do the math. I don't know why. I guess we'll get into it here in a bit, but I am absolutely obsessed with this game. And typically this is not my kind of game. I'm not usually a mark for those like kind of survival crafting sort of
You bounced off
PC
Valheim
games.
instantly.
Yeah, Valheim didn't click with me. This, however, did. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about. We could talk about the game. We could talk about the controversy surrounding the game. How do you guys want to start this?
I mean, I think the first thing we should say is that as of now, it's already sold 6 million copies. And it's
Yeah,
kind of
6
from
million copies
like, this
in
is a-
4 days, 5 days, something like that.
This is like a nobody studio. It's does anybody Pocket Pair is what they're called.
It is a Japanese studio, which is
Yeah.
interesting, I think, because of the Pokemon comparisons, obviously.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that people are a little wild for like thinking this game has anything to do with Pokemon outside of some obviously very generously put derivative designs. Other than that, it's nothing like Pokemon, I don't think.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, the creatures are where the comparisons to Pokemon
the creatures
start and end.
the catching plays very similarly, I think, to Legends Arceus, I think. Maybe
Yeah. So this game, in my head, right, it's a cross between Pokemon Legends Arceus, Valheim, and Breath of the Wild.
I don't even know
It
if
really seems like the developer pulled elements from all three of those games,
an Arc.
mashed them together, and made this game.
It's a lot of Arc.
Yeah, Arc. Yeah, I've never played Arc, so maybe one of you could explain to me what elements from Arc are in this game, just for my understanding.
I've never played Arc, so I don't know.
The elements
Yeah, I
that
mean,
are
I keep
here
seeing
is-
that online.
It's very much everything about the resources and everything that's very Arc.
I know in Arc you like capture dinosaurs and have them help you do stuff. Like,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so in this game, right? So you start out as in Palworld, which
the
it's
Palpagos
very similar
Islands.
to Pokemon. Pals are basically Pokemon, and what's different is that you can have your own base, and that's where the crafting elements come in. You can set up your house. You can unlock all sorts of things to craft to improve your base efficiency. You can mine things, chop down trees, do whatever. And you can have your pals do this for you in a sort of automated
Yeah, the automation.
base building mechanic.
The automation, like when I saw the trailer for this like ages ago, the automation is what immediately interested me because like the whole it's Pokemon with guns thing is like stupid.
Yeah, that's
Like-
the marketing for this game is kind of wild. Like they're trying to be edgy Pokemon. That's what they're selling themselves as.
Yeah.
And it works in some ways and doesn't work in other ways, I think. I do think the dark undertone throughout the game is very funny. Like, it might be pushing the line a little bit sometimes, but I do find it overall funny.
Well, the dark undertone is in like you can eat your little dudes whenever you want.
Yeah, like, you have this cute little thing, but you could butcher it, cook it, and eat it if you get hungry. Or you could strap that thing up with like a machine gun and have it mow down people. Or you could throw your ball at a person and capture them and effectively enslave them. Like, what?
Oh, and you can butcher them.
And then you could also basically, yeah, anything you catch just acts like a pal in this game. And that goes from people to even bosses. I saw someone glitch the first
Yeah, I
boss
saw
and
that,
caught them,
yeah.
which is crazy. But maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. But I think the base building is really, and I don't know why, but for some reason, just seeing your little pals run around the base, work, eat, sleep, it's just really appealing. I spend so much time in my base.
It's still like this is a critique I have of basically all survival games, which is that like it still starts a little slow for me. Like the phase where you're going out and chopping down trees. It's shorter in this
Yeah.
game than it is in a lot of games, but it's still like It's there. It's there
And
for a while. I think maybe it's...
I think it's a staple of all survival games because of Minecraft.
Yeah, I just think that, like, I think when you know what you're doing, you should be able to skip it. Like, maybe there's, like, a pal that I know where it is or something, and I can go catch it, and it gives me, like, faster XP or something so that I can get to level 7 and have, like... Because once you can, like, put a tree farm and a stone quarry in your base and have your pals, and then you just never have to think about stone or wood again.
Yeah.
Like, because your pals
Yeah, just basically relegate one of your pals to the mines.
Yeah, for the
and
rest
have
of
them
time. Yeah.
For the rest of their life.
And you really have to do some infrastructure setup before you get to do a lot of the fun part of the game, I think, which is, like, exploring and catching, like, the more interesting pals. You really have to, like, you kind of have to eat your vegetables.
I agree with you, but I found that process wasn't tedious for me.
It wasn't the first time.
Within an hour, I would say, I was having a lot of fun.
It wasn't tedious.
Which I can't say the same for other similar games.
No, I agree. It wasn't tedious for me the first time either, but I played a multiplayer world with a buddy and then had to, like, he hated it. Or I don't know if he hated it, but he didn't like it. I don't imagine we're going to play it anymore. And so I had to redo all of that work by myself, and it was just, like, miserable the second time. Like, knowing that I just didn't have to be doing that anymore soon.
And speaking of, Mike, your save got deleted, right?
So there is a server bug where if someone leaves a guild and people are offline, it will corrupt their saves. It didn't corrupt mine
so
for
did
some
you lose
reason.
Progress or lose the entire
no,
save?
we only certain people lost progress.
But did they lose their whole save? Or?
Yeah, they lost all of their, like, XP progress and everything.
That's annoying.
That sucks.
I feel like in a multiplayer environment, that would be pretty easy to, like, get them back up to where they were.
All I had to do is, right now, the server is now on, what's the word? 5 times XP?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Nice.
Everyone's just running around
how are you guys finding
grinding.
this game multiplayer? Because I'm actually playing it single player, but the multiplayer aspect really appealed to me, and I thought it'd be a lot of fun if we could get a group together and play it.
It was fine playing it multiplayer. Unfortunately, I'm playing it on Game Pass, so I would not be able to play it with you guys.
Yeah.
I do hear that the Game Pass version is not as optimized / buggier than the Steam version.
It's the same as the Xbox version, and it's behind, and it has crossplay with Xbox, but I can't play with Steam players. Honestly, I haven't run into any major bugs yet, other than, like, the funny ones everybody knows about. I hear it's
my favorite bug is my inventory sometimes disappears.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it's a very funny.
Mike, are you playing on Steam or
I'm on Steam
or Game Pass? Okay.
Oh, I also
I've had a surprisingly, I won't say bug-free experience. Like, there's little glitches where pals get caught on stuff, and I have to, like, put them in the box and then pull them back out to free them. But, like, nothing really too annoying for me yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm about the same. I wish I could do dedicated servers so that I'm not in the position I'm in where, like, I just can't access that world I was playing with a friend.
Yeah, I think that might be the move. I think you can do it, right?
You cannot if you're on Game Pass. You can if you're on Steam.
You're on Game Pass. Yeah. I see.
Just no support for dedicated servers on Xbox, which is...
So it is worth mentioning, this game is in early access. Another thing, right? Like, I never play early access games. I don't even know how. I think I saw, like, a reel on Instagram or something about this game, and I was just like, I guess I'll check it out. I was, like, really bored Sunday. And, like, because I didn't follow the marketing or anything. I didn't know it was Pokemon with guns. I had no forward information on this game.
That's wild.
But I sort of just installed it on a whim and then got completely just trapped by it.
No, it had a couple of trailers go viral, like, over the past couple years.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty anticipated game. I knew about it a while ago, and it's one of those things that, like, I was like, oh, I'll probably check it out, and it fell off my radar. And I don't know. If you think you're ever gonna get a finished product out of this, I think you should probably think again. This company does not have a history of finishing their early access games.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, they don't have a history of finishing their early access games, but they also just sold like 6 million copies and counting.
Yeah, and they could just stop now and be millionaires.
And they hit their
there's like 3 of them.
Steam hit its concurrent high for this game on like a Monday.
Yeah.
Which is just bonkers. Like, I can only imagine how big the numbers will be this weekend.
Yeah, it's one of only
Like,
a
the
few
growth
games.
doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon.
It's almost outsold Metroid Dread.
That's just crazy.
Yeah.
So if they're smart, which, to be quite honest, I'm not sure if they are, but if they're smart, they'll hire some really competent people to maintain this game and have like a smooth version 1 release.
This game was made on like a shoestring budget. Like,
not only that, have you read some of the developer interviews? Like,
I've read a little
it seems
bit.
like the most ghetto development process imaginable. Like, they didn't use source control.
No, yeah, they used a bucket of flash drives. No, I mean, and
The
I'm
guy who
looking at
did the
it.
animations was like some guy who worked part-time at a convenience store and didn't really know how to do animation, just sort of learned on the fly.
I can't say this for certain, but I'm pretty sure I've seen like most of the models that are in this game before too. Like, I think it's mostly store-bought assets. Like the pickaxes,
I
the
believe
axes.
a lot of the assets are Unreal
Yeah.
assets.
And a lot of the animations, like I was watching Small Ant play it, and he said that like the player controller was identical to Only Up. Like, it was just the default player controller in Unreal.
That's funny.
And like, you feel that stuff a little bit. It doesn't ruin the game. I guess it's like, it's two things.
It is crazy. It's odd to me because by all stretches of the imagination, this is basically an asset flip
Yes,
game on the surface.
It is 100% an asset flip game.
But the mechanics work together so well that it's a very enjoyable and addicting game for me, at least.
No, it is the proof that an asset flip can be fun. It does kill me that there are like games with a million times the effort of Palworld going into them that will not see a fraction of the success.
Oh no, yeah. This is a lightning in a bottle kind of moment.
I mean,
like, this is already like top 5 all-time concurrent
Yeah.
on Steam.
I think it's number
believe.
1.
No, number 1 was something like
PUBG.
It's one of only 2 games to ever. It's one of only 2 games to ever have a higher concurrent player count than Counter-Strike, I think.
wow, yeah.
And
I mean,
one of only
we're
6
still not
games
at the
to peak
ceiling.
at over 1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, there's some sauce in this, some secret sauce that just works. And I think it's the game design above all else. I think there was just really solid game design.
I just wonder
at the center of this thing, and that's why it's doing so well. Because certainly the creature design is cute, but like you said, basically ripped off of Pokemon. The assets are
like,
pretty generic. I mean, it's a nice looking game. Don't get me wrong, but there's no real like art direction.
No,
it's just
the monsters, because they did to some extent design these monsters so they don't match the world at all. Like, other than like the lighting matches up, but
yeah.
And like the human players don't match the art style of the pals at all. I don't know. I think that's fine though. It works okay. I think they stumbled into it, because when I'm playing it,
It does seem that way.
at no point, like, it flows well, but it flows well in the sense that, like, I have never once thought about how many tech tree points I have. I just, when I want something, I have enough to unlock it. Like, they're just showering me in, like, XP. I never, like, I've had to go out and catch, like, I've not been a high enough level to build something I wanted a few times, and I've had to just go out and catch some monsters, but, like, this is not a finely tuned RPG in any sense.
Yeah, but the sense of progression is really quite good. Like, I don't know if it's good, but it's certainly addicting.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. They're pulling so many elements from so many different genres. Like, there's a tech tree, like you said, and you sort of progress from ancient technology to more modern technology. So you start out like being able to craft like a wooden club, and eventually you can craft spears and bows and arrows, and then that turns into crossbows, and then that turns into rifles, and then that turns into like assault rifles. And there's just a sort of progression there,
But even-
where you're getting more powerful, like progressing further technologically, and being able to capture stronger pals as a result.
But even before you get any guns, you can just pick up your little Firefox thing and hold it under your arm and use it as a flamethrower.
Yeah.
That's another thing too. Each pal has like a unique passive and like a unique active.
I do want to
and
say,
they have
I really like how every pal has unique animations for everything they do.
Yeah.
Like that is
it
Well, that's
astounding.
it
not
adds a
true.
lot to the game.
When it comes to working, they do have like character to them.
Yeah, they have animations, but like the mining animation and the hammering animation, like it's just the same animation playing on a different rig for most of them.
But like watching your little sheep
not
roll up to
necessarily.
your
The later
workbench and then
ones?
just pull out a hammer and like start hammering. There's something really
adorable,
funny
yeah.
and cute about that.
I also really like that. Like I mean, I have not been in a position where I think about team building at all. You can carry like 5 pals with
Not at
you
all.
around as a team, but I have thought about base composition, which is like I need a pal that can do farming. I need a pal that can do mining.
Yes.
I need a pal that can do logging. I need a couple of pals that just do the generic building and like moving of items around. And that I think about a lot. And I go out and like when I catch a pal that has like some skills that I needed, I'm like pogging.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
each pal has a unique set of skills for like base building. They also have like elements and attacks for battling. And they also have like perks which are randomized each time, which makes actually hunting for like a really good pal worth it. And the perks can be anything from like negative perks that like maybe they're a glutton so they eat too much and they deplete your food stores faster, to maybe they're a workaholic so they work 15% faster than everyone else. So finding the like I found a land ball with like insane perks. Like it was a workaholic, it was a leader, it was, like it was giving plus attack to everyone, it was increasing everyone's work speed.
That's
so that
awesome.
guy's just sticking around.
I also like this kind of. I have an issue with like Legends Arceus. I don't like games that make me catch the same Pokemon over and over again to progress. It doesn't bother
This
me.
game does.
It does do that, but it doesn't bother me in Palworld. It just because they're so expendable. I'm just going to eat them or whatever.
Yeah, like they're not just gonna sit in a box.
You can eat them. I don't know if you got this far, Connor, but you can combine like multiple of
You can
them
stick
into
them in
one
the
to improve
blender.
one's stats.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
There's all sorts of things you can do, and there's like a breeding mechanic too that I haven't even delved into too much.
Yeah,
but
that's
you
the
can
one-
breed pals together.
That's the one thing you can't do with the human characters. They're
Oh wow, you checked?
no, I was watching a streamer and he mentioned it.
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't caught a human yet.
I've caught
So,
several
I
humans. They
caught a
sell good on the
human-
black market.
Oh no way.
Yeah, no, I catch humans
so
to
messed
sell
up.
them to the black market guy so I can buy other pals.
That's messy.
That's crazy, dude. This game's wild.
I haven't
Like,
are there
I
towns?
did
There is
There,
like
I
one
did
or
find
two.
like a small settlement. I don't know if there's any like bigger towns,
Okay.
but I was gonna say I did catch a human yesterday, which is hard to do, right? Like their catch rate is very low, so you have to get them weekend, and even then, like their catch rate is very low. So you just have to get very lucky. And I did get lucky, and I caught him, and he's currently working away on my second base, my mining base.
Oh, you can have a second base?
Yeah,
Right.
you can have.
Yeah.
Once you get to a high enough level, you can have a second base, and I assume a third base
yeah, you can have up
eventually.
to 3.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
So yeah, actually, that gets me wondering: how far are you guys into the game? Like, am I the furthest?
I have not beat the first boss. Like
Okay,
I'm
I
like
have.
level 7 or something. Like I'm very early game.
I think I'm like 21, 22, somewhere around there. What about you, Mike?
I'm 28 right now. 27, 28.
Oh, Mike is the furthest.
Yeah, I have like 20 hours into the game. Across 2
Oh
save
man.
files.
Okay. Across 2 save
The
files.
bulk has been in the dedicated though.
But even with your save progression deletion, you're that far in.
My save didn't get deleted.
It was other people on the server.
Oh,
yeah,
it
it
was
was
other
only
people's.
certain
Okay.
people in the server that got ruined.
Hmm. Yeah, if that happened to me, that might break the spell for me. Like, I don't know if I'd be willing to grind through it all again.
Yeah. Are the bosses fun? Have you got like
They're okay.
'Cause-
So basically, how it goes is so this game, right? Like, it's a lot like the combat's a lot like Legends Arceus, in which you're an active participant. You can dodge. You can use your bow and arrow.
I don't really.
Well, I don't know. In Arceus, can you attack?
No, and also once you
just
actually
dodge.
start a
Okay.
battle, you're not dodging or anything anymore. That's like
Oh, really? I totally forgot.
that's before you. Yeah, once you're in the battle, it's just a turn-based Pokemon game again. Which
Okay, so it's not like the combat's not like it, because in this game you're very much an active participant. You're actually running around. You can do damage to the PAL as well. So the boss fight is basically like a girl riding like a giant PAL. So
The Totoro.
you have to dodge. What?
it's Totoro, right? The big yellow
yeah.
Totoro.
The big yellow Totoro, yeah.
Yeah.
But you basically have to dodge the attacks, and then like you can only send out one PAL. I keep wanting to say Pokemon, dude.
Yeah,
You can only
because-
send out one PAL at a time. So you basically have to keep swapping them out as their health gets low until you whittle her down. She's basically like a big damage sponge. So
That's boring.
I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, no, but the fun part of the game is the base building for me.
Yeah, the base building really elevates it, and I actually quite like the exploration as well.
Yeah.
Like I've been so definitely exploration was inspired, let's say, by Breath of the Wild. Like eventually you get a glider, and you get a grapple gun which acts like a hook shot as well.
I mean, the exploration also like it works for the same reason that Scarlet and Violet and Legends Arceus worked. It is like even if the terrain is not that exciting, it is just innately fun to find a new little guy to catch.
Yeah.
That just,
Yeah, finding
that
new
always
pals,
feels good.
and also finding those collectibles that can basically power up your catching ability.
Mhm.
It's kind of addicting finding those as well, and finding dungeons.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have done any
I've done
dungeons,
quite a
but
few.
I have not.
okay. So I've only done 2. Mike, are they all copy pasted?
I don't know.
or was it just the 2 I found?
I think it might have just been the 2. They might be copy pasted though. I mean, it's just the pals in there that's really valuable.
Yeah. And there's also their take on shiny Pokemon, which are the Alpha Pals. Have you guys caught any of those yet?
There's alpha pals, which are the big world boss pals. That's technically the name. And then there's
Sorry, I meant like
lucky
the shiny
pals.
ones.
Yeah. Those are
Lucky
considered
pals, okay. Yeah, I've caught a few Lucky Pals. I think the first one was a giant, because they're like giant and shining, right? The first one was a giant Chickpea, like the little chicken. So I just have like a giant chicken running around my base, and it's kind of funny. Like this thing's huge.
I have
Yeah.
not found any of those yet.
I found a couple, and they always seem to be like the ones I don't want.
If you listen, like they make like there's like a glowing sound that you can hear from pretty far away when one's around.
Yeah, they
So
shine.
I would try to hear it before you see it. So Mike, do you have 2 bases?
I have 3 actually on the dedicated.
You have 3.
Yeah, we
Dang.
have 3 bases.
Is 3 the max
I don't think so.
for now at least? You can go past 3.
Probably.
I mean, the
That's
level
really
cap's
cool.
like 50, right?
The level cap is 50,
So,
but like I'm already like Mike's over halfway through and he can do 3 bases, so I'd assume there'd be more.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do we? I guess we do want to mention. There's pretty concrete proof that at least parts of the assets were plagiarized from Pokemon. Like, I do think
You see, I
It's a tricky
believed
issue.
that last night. So the designs are, they just didn't bother. Like there is like whatever the final evolution of Score Bunny is, I forget. There's just a grass type of that, and
Cinderace.
that's exactly
Yeah.
what it is. They did nothing. There's one that is just a shiny Eevee. I think it's called Krimis. It looks exactly like Eevee. There's like a Luxray looking one. There's just a bunch of them that are like I was just playing it last night with my buddy Tyler, and he just kept like saying, "Oh, this is that Pokemon. This is that Pokemon." Like they did not bother. However, and I was like, it was leaving a bad taste in my mouth. I was getting kind of mad about it. I felt like they were doing something wrong with it. But then like it was pointed out to me that Nintendo is like the most litigious company in gaming, and they have not done anything about it.
Yeah.
So like
yeah.
it can't.
I mean, that
it just
leads into
can't
another
be anything.
Like, do we think that they might be building a case against? Like, do we see a future where Nintendo comes after this game and tries to shut it down?
It wouldn't surprise me, but it's kind of weird that they haven't already.
Or at the very least, be like, you have to change the designs,
Yeah.
or something of that nature.
That's what really frustrates me, is that the designs that aren't just Pokemon are kind of good.
They're quite good.
But although I have noticed the Pangolin looks a lot. I don't think Pokemon was their only source of inspiration. The tiny penguin Pangolin looks a lot like the penguin from Billy Hatcher, which is a pretty deep cut, but I saw it immediately.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, man. Like, how many ways can you do a cute penguin creature?
It's...
You know? Like...
It looks like they traced it, though. Like, it's... You know, it looks like they traced it and moved some colors around. Like the colors are almost exact, and that's what gets me, I think. Like,
I mean...
But again, and that's Sega, and I don't know. But again,
I do think like you said, I think some of their designs are quite good. The non-Pokemon ones. Like there's this ghost type or dark type one that I thought looked really good.
One that
I can't quite remember the name. Daydream, yeah.
Yeah, that one is good.
I think the biggest thing is that before they launched Palworld, they did go through legal reviews to see if Nintendo could sue them. And they passed it.
The fact that they had to do that is kind of nuts,
I mean,
though. Maybe you should have designed your own monsters instead of doing that.
I honestly think that's just a Japanese thing, because Japanese copyright law is notoriously, like, restrictive.
One that's really been making me mad, though, that I keep seeing, and it, like, kills me that I have to defend Palworld on this. There is one monster that looks like the Egyptian god Anubis. And people keep saying it's a copy of Lucario, and it's just not. It looks like Anubis.
It just looks like Anubis. I'm sorry that Lucario was just Anubis. I think the other one that they keep comparing is Lamball. And I'm like, it's just a sheep. Like, it looks like a Wooloo because they're both based on a sheep.
With the penguin and the sheep, I'm like, there's only so many ways you can make a cutesy version of this.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just being dumb, but like that's for those specific examples at least. I'm like, come on.
The penguin, I'm not going to give them because it's just exact. But
the Wooloo,
you're going to have to show me a picture after this. That's funny.
The Wooloo bothers me.
Like
the and like, I don't know. There's a bird that looks exactly like Talo, I think, from Pokemon. But like, what are you going to do? Like,
there's like 1,000 Pokemon. It's
Plus, I really do feel like I don't think the design of the creatures are why this game is going viral.
Yeah.
No.
Like maybe that's a hot take.
No. They had to have monsters, but the monsters
if the monsters looked significantly worse and not like Pokemon, I think maybe it would be slightly less popular, but it would still be popular.
I think like what gets this game is that it does Pokemon in a way that the Pokemon company has failed to do for a decade. And that's wild.
Yeah, I don't agree with that on any level, though. This game is just not anything like Pokemon, and it's not even close to the scale of Pokemon. Like,
it's close. Well, okay, so Legends Arceus is the closest comparison point, but even that is a bit different. But I think this game is what people want Pokemon to be.
Yeah,
in a sense,
it's kind of what
at least a huge
wanted
part of the audience.
Pokemon to be.
I mean, the only
people
thing...
have been clamoring for an open world Pokemon game forever, and the closest thing they got was Legends Arceus, which
Scarlet and Violet is literally just an open world Pokemon game.
But it sucks. That's the problem.
Not good.
They need to. A game like this.
The only thing,
granted,
the only thing Palworld has over Scarlet and Violet is that it runs well. Like,
you think? Well, okay. Scarlet and Violet, I had fun with Scarlet and Violet.
Scarlet and Violet, if it ran well and like had a little bit better art direction for the environments, it'd be the best Pokemon game of all time, and there'd be no contest.
I don't know about that, man.
It's not even close. Like the only problems that's game,
crazy.
Like the biggest problems that game has is that it has a pretty boring world. And a lot of the reason it's so boring is that its frame rate is so atrocious.
I think having an interesting world is really important for Pokemon, though. Like, clearly not for sales or whatever, but for, like, the next step in the evolution of that series.
I mean, the world is interesting. They just didn't... It doesn't look good. it has towns that have an interesting story about them, just like any other Pokemon game.
The world is definitely a step up from their previous games, but maybe I'm just expecting too much, but I feel like it could be better.
I mean, the world in Scarlet and Violet is better than the world in Palworld. Like, it has towns that are, like, real towns.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's NPCs
characters
and stuff.
And a story. Yeah, like, these just aren't comparable games in any way, I don't think, other than the monster designs.
But I do think a lot of elements from this game are elements people want to see in Pokemon, and maybe are frustrated that they aren't like present in Pokemon yet.
Like what?
Like, more meaningful exploration, like, seeing the pals out in the wild and having actual, like, in-depth animations for things that they're doing.
Yeah, but they did this with 100 pals. Like,
right, yeah. Like, I'm not saying that their requests are reasonable for an annualized game, but I'm just saying this is what people sort of want.
I just think,
and I think
the idea that this is going to light a fire under Game Freak is delusional. They're not even thinking.
I don't
about
think
this
it
game.
will. Like, Pokemon sells. I mean, as of right now, at least, Pokemon sells way more than this game.
Yeah, like this. I think Scarlet and Violet sold 30 million. I think so. Like, Palworld hasn't even reached. It's reached a fifth of that. Like, it's nothing. It's not going to affect Pokemon sales. It's not going to. It's not
going to affect Pokemon sales, but I do think this game shows that there's an audience for Pokemon that is excited for Pokemon to evolve in a meaningful way.
I think it's just I think it shows that there's an audience for Pokemon that should try other monster catching games, because there's no lack of them. There's like the yokai games that didn't do well in the West.
That's right.
There's Persona, there's Cassette Beasts. There's all kinds of games that they just refuse to try because they just want to moan about
Temtem.
Game Freak. Yeah, Temtem, although I never tried that one.
They just want to play Pokemon, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, Temtem kind of disappeared. Temtem was big for a little bit. Everyone's like, it's going to kill Pokemon, and then it faded into the bin with the rest of, like, cassette monsters and everything.
That's another one that if anybody thought that was going to even affect Pokemon, they were delusional.
Temtem I did hear about, and I was sort of interested, but then again, like, it just sort of fell off, and I never really gave it a fair shake. Maybe I should.
I just didn't. The monster designs were bad. I didn't like it. Or not bad. They just didn't appeal to me. And ironically, like, despite being just plagiarism, I like the monster designs more in Palworld.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason, right? Like, Pokemon designs are some of the best. Like, a good Pokemon design is, like, some of the best creature design, period.
Yeah.
Now, granted, like, after now we have over 1,000 Pokemon, like, there are some designs that I just absolutely hate, but maybe it's a product of the times, Like, a good design in 2024 is not necessarily the same as a good design in 1999 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. The technology of the time affected the Pokemon designs a lot as well. Like, a lot of those Gen 1 designs that people love so much are the way they are because the Game Boy doesn't have that many pixels.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, I don't know, man, like, I guess we're veering off into a Pokemon tangent, but, like, when they were pixelated, when they were Game Boy games, DS games, that's when I thought Pokemon was the strongest. And when they veered into, like, 3D and then eventually, like, open world with kind of Sword and Shield and more so with Scarlet Violet, I think it just lost a lot of the soul and charm that was captured in those early sprite-based games.
I agree with that. But
And I think to get that soul and charm back, they sort of have to reinvent the wheel a little bit.
I disagree.
I think that's what people are eager for.
Like, where Pokemon kind of fell apart as a franchise. So this is a whole tangent. Basically, when they started every game adding a new gimmick and then dropping it in the successive game, and I think that was with Mega Evolutions and X and Y, right?
Yeah, no, it was when they had to jump to 3D, and so, like, you could attribute it to the increased development, like, costs of 3D and a studio that was not ready to do that.
I think Pokemon
well.
adding a gimmick every game and then getting rid of it in the next game to replace it with a similar but different gimmick it's a cop-out.
I mean, I think the most damning thing against Pokemon, the director of the franchise, Masuda, said about Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire when asked why he didn't put the Battle Frontier in. He said that he believed his competition was mobile games and that kids did not want to play a Pokemon game long enough to ever experience a Battle Frontier. And that's why the games are so easy now. He doesn't think anybody playing them wants to experience any challenge.
He might be right to an extent. Like, the primary audience for this game might be those mobile game playing children.
The problem is there's no way to
know. I would love to see a demographic breakdown of like the Pokemon audience. Because I know there's a lot of people like in their 20s and 30s that are obsessed with this series.
Little kids are also just not averse to challenge. Like, if that were true, they would play those mobile games. They wouldn't pick up Pokemon at all.
And plus, like, the people who played the original, like, Red, Blue, Gold, Silver, Ruby, Sapphire, they were children.
Exactly.
Like,
no,
kids,
the real...
Unless you're saying children became stupider over the years, which I guess you could argue.
Facts. It's bizarre that, like, as we've gotten, like, further along with game studios, they've kind of viewed children as dumber and dumber when they're the same children of 20 years ago.
Kids.
Yeah, they're still going to figure stuff out.
Kids who play games figure things out very quickly.
Especially if, like, it's a good game, because they're gonna figure it out. They're going to brute force their way through that game.
No, I think...
Like, I'm sure there were mechanics I did as a kid that I could no longer do successfully as an adult.
Oh, yeah. No, I think the Pokemon problem is that they have an audience. It is impossible for them to get any feedback at all because they have an audience that's just going to buy the game no matter how bad it is.
A fanatically loyal audience that
there is no way for them to know. Like, Masuda, the feedback he's getting is that everything he's doing is right, but I think he could do the exact opposite and get the exact same feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Pokemon's like the prime example of something that's just too big to fail at this point.
It's a Call of Duty-esque, look at Modern Warfare 3. It's exactly the same. So, it's
just frustrating.
Yeah, it's extremely frustrating. But
I'm part of the problem. I'm part of the problem. I'll sit here and criticize Pokemon all day long, but I'll be there day one and buy the new crap they're putting out.
This is really what happens when you get a fanatically loyal audience that will criticize their own game, but when someone who's not in the audience criticizes their game, they'll go like, they're not right. That's not true.
That said, I still think Scarlet and Violet was a huge step in the right direction. Like,
I agree with you. I think Scarlet and Violet...
Pokemon needed competition. They needed something to, like, stand in their face and be like, hey, you should do better.
Happen,
yeah.
This just isn't that. Like, it's just not a Pokemon game. Like, it's just not similar enough, I don't think.
The core mechanics are too different. Like, the only similarity are the creatures.
Yeah.
Like, we're in an era
but, like,
with,
here's the thing, though.
AAA gaming where there's not a lot of competition between major titles anymore. They're all content to their own
like
audiences.
We said, Pokemon's just gotten too big. Like, if this game had come out in, like, 2000, we might live in a very different world today.
Yeah.
If Palworld had come out in 2000, right? Like, then we might live in a different world where we have a distinctly different Pokemon. But there was no challenger to Pokemon for decades.
Yeah, and any challenge...
So it's just too late.
I mean, there were like yokai.
Sorry, let me rephrase. No one who actually had a shot of dethroning Pokemon.
That's less true than you think. Yokai Watch, like you remember Sun and Moon and how it was so different from the games that came before it.
Yeah,
that is largely attributed to the massive chunk Yokai Watch took out of Pokemon. When
Yokai Watch was mostly Japanese audience, though, right?
It did not do well in the West. We only got one of them, but there have been 5 in Japan, and they've all done pretty well.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
this is something I learned earlier today, by the way.
I'm very curious to see the split between the Japanese audience and the, I guess, foreign audience from with respect to Japan for Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, I'd have to imagine the foreign audience, just by virtue of, like...
Population
is much bigger, but, like, who knows?
I know...
I know mobile games are very big in Japan.
Palworld...
Switch is very big in Japan.
Palworld was designed for a Western audience first, from everything I could see. Like,
oh, absolutely.
The guns. And, no, they said, even talking about the character creator, they said, for some reason Westerners like to make hideous characters.
I mean, they're not wrong.
They're not wrong.
Yeah,
but I just think it's copium to think that Game Freak has their eye on this at all. I just don't think that's the case.
I don't think they do as of right now. I don't think I think they could care less right now. If this game keeps selling and selling and selling, if we climb past 10 million, maybe past 20 million, then I'd have to imagine they'd at least be a little interested.
If it passes,
be like, what's going on over here?
It would have to pass 20 million, I think. Like, because even at 15 million, it's like, oh, so some chump got half our sales. Like,
right? Yeah,
you know, that's not enough.
But like, I've been reading lots of anecdotes. You know, I don't know any children, but like reading stories online of kids, like parents,
they're at 6 million talking right about
Palworld. Everyone in school is playing Palworld. Get me Palworld, please. Like this thing is.
I would not buy this game for my child.
Right? like this is not really on the surface,
Christ.
right? It just seems like, oh, look, a Pokemon clone, but like deep down, it's not quite that.
It's a weird game. It also like
so 8 hours ago, Palworld exceeded it's nearly 2 million concurrent players.
Yeah,
that's
see, like it's just spreading like wildfire.
Yeah.
I would not buy this game for my child. When you fail to catch a Pokemon, or when you fail to capture a pal, it says, "Ooh, the cheeky bastard escaped."
Yeah,
like,
I was about to bring that up.
Like, no,
it's like what?
No, I'm not gonna buy this. Like, maybe 14. Like, that's old enough. 13, 14.
That's just the thing. Like, that's another thing that makes this game mesmerizing to me. Is just the tone. Is so weird.
No, it is.
It's just all over the place.
It is targeting high schoolers. Like,
yeah, and it's
so
strangely
weird,
enough, it's not even like a darker and edgier Pokemon. It's just a realistic kind of take on what if there was a world with monsters.
It's mature enough to be intensely immature.
Yeah,
yeah,
like it's not
like it's the same game where you can pet your cute fluffy sheep, but also enslave and then butcher and eat a human being.
You can also pet a human being.
Yeah, I was talking about this at work, but Palworld is literally like a game where it doesn't ask the question, what if it was Pokemon with guns? And why? There's no question of why would people have guns in this world. It's why wouldn't they? Because these monsters can just murder you. Like, at some point, while I'm playing it, I'm like, wait, why doesn't the Pokemon universe have guns if, everything around them is a super powerful creature that could, like, electrocute them at sight?
I mean, the Pokemon universe does have guns in it.
Yeah, they have it for a while.
Yeah, but, like, in the anime, there were guns. There are police officers.
Very early on. Like, if I'm walking around in the forest and I know that a rat can shock me with 4 million volts of electricity, I'm going to stay strapped. Like, I'm going to blast that rat. I'm not taking my chances.
There's also, like, I don't know, like, there's just funny stuff in this game, man. Like, I killed one of those penguins on top of the hill, and I don't think you kill them, right? They have little swirls in their eyes. So
they drop their meat, though.
They do drop their meat,
but they're incapacitated technically.
I don't know. Maybe they just drop some of their meat.
No,
just enough to stay alive.
They're non-catchable.
Okay.
For all intents and purposes, they're dead. It's just the funny way of saying they're incapacitated.
They do drop their meat in their bones, but allegedly they're still alive.
And their pal
which is really funny.
Occasionally they drop their pal essence or their fire organ
or their fluids.
Oh yeah, I love collecting pal fluid.
But like, I killed this penguin on top of a hill, and it just cracked me up. And I wasn't even intending to do it, but it just ragdolled all the way down the hill. Like, it ragdolled so far, it basically like went off screen.
I think my favorite
and I just watched it the whole time.
Bug is that if you hit a pal with an attack hard enough and it like one-shots them, they'll get launched into orbit. Their corpse will just go boo right into space. I'm like, that's funny.
I've seen that happen with like a living pal before.
Like, it's
where an attack just sent them.
Like, it's buggy, but none of the bugs are enough to like detract from the experience.
Yeah, so far the bugs have been more humorous than annoying for me.
Have you guys seen the capture bug to like launch yourself into the sky?
Yeah, I've heard about it.
No.
If you throw a pal sphere and successfully capture a pal and you're standing on top of it when it succeeds, it launches you into orbit.
Yeah, and then you could glide down.
And then you die.
No, if you have your glider, you can glide down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
You give it arrest fall damage with your glider. And also, if you're riding a pal, you don't take fall damage.
Does the pal?
Nope.
Wow.
I jumped off a cliff on my Chillet and didn't take fall damage. I'm like, wow, this is neat.
And apparently, I haven't gotten this far yet, but you can mount flying pals and actually fly around, right?
Yeah.
The Nightwing's really bad. Cool. Like the Nightwing's not as good as the Van
Worm. It's really slow.
And you get the Van Worm like 6 levels after the Nightwing, so it's just not worth it.
Van Worm.
Yeah.
The thing that, like, you can overwork your pals to the extent that they break bones, like working on your base.
Yeah, that's you can build
revolt.
A podium eventually or something, and then you can choose to like let them work normally or basically drive them to
the settings
suffer.
Are humane, cruel, and brutal. There's no, light work. It's just work them hard, or work them until they form a communist commune and revolt and install a new pal Soviet Union, you know?
You can view them as disposable if you want.
Honestly, I welcome the return of Penguin Stalin, honestly.
I trust my employees. I built my pals 2 hot springs in 1 base so they can relax extra hard, because I believe a healthy mindset leads to better.
I'm running my pal
CEO.
base. Yeah, I'm running my pal base like Naughty Dog re-releasing a game they released 3 years ago.
I don't spend enough time on my base. My pals are lucky they have beds.
Apparently, your pals do get sad if you don't visit them enough.
Really?
I read that online. I don't know if that's true, but
that makes sense.
Yeah, they get a little sad if you're not there, and they start getting depressed. Like all my pals are depressed because of the server issue. Because no one's been there because everyone's saves corrupt, but like me and 2 others.
Yeah,
that's really funny. I'm sorry.
And now they're all depressed, so I got to give them expensive medicine to fix their depression.
What a weird game.
It's so weird, man. Like that's another reason it has to be going viral. It's just the weird tone.
It's just
it's just strange.
Like somehow they both set a weird precedent, and I thought it was going to be Mimi, and then I played it for like 4 hours straight, and I'm like, wait a second, this is a decent game. Hold on,
I do think
it's a decent game, but it's also Mimi.
Yeah.
Like it for sure is Mimi. Like that's why it's going viral.
Yeah, I've been following this game since the first trailer dropped 3 years ago.
Yeah,
I've been waiting patiently.
Wow, 3 years ago, really?
It started development like 3 years ago.
That's crazy.
I do think it's going to be a flavor of the week game, though. Like, I don't think we're going to be hearing about it a month from now. Not really. Like, I think it's going to have its fans, like, but it's not going to have like a million concurrent players on Steam in a month.
I think it's going to remain like in people's minds until probably. Cause, like personally, I'm going to give it my way too early indie game of the year because I don't know what else is coming out this year.
There's no way in hell. Like
I don't know what other indie games are coming out.
Games released today, basically,
Yakuza,
which is just. I think we're still feeling the aftershocks of 2023 with Tekken and Yakuza.
Yeah, there's a AAA though. That's why I'm giving it my indie game of the year because I don't think it's going to be my game of the year, but it might. It might. I don't know.
I mean, like we were talking about this before the show, but like it's just way too early, man.
It's way too early.
We're not even through January yet.
January
like
23rd.
So much happens in a year.
It is way too early, and we've already got an indie game that has taken the internet by storm. And that's like usually it takes towards the end of the year, so it's fresh in people's minds by like award shows.
I don't know, man. Like I honestly believe it can happen at any time, and there's no predicting it. Like
Lethal,
there's you just can't predict what will go viral.
Lethal Company hadn't even really tapered off yet. Like
Lethal Company's still kind of viral.
I think Lethal Company's going to stay viral because it is a content like machine. It's going to stay relevant like Among Us.
Curious. You know? I'm very curious about the future of this game. Like because I don't know if we're like near the top of the growth explosion or still at the bottom. Like,
I think Lethal Company is going to stay relevant like Among Us, or not like I think Palworld's going to be more like a Phasmophobia kind of indie hit, where it's like big for a little bit, and then the dedicated fans will stay and play it until another update launches, and then it'll be big for a little bit more.
That's the other thing too, right? Like this is early access. Presumably, like I said, if they're smart, they could add a lot of smart features to the game prior to its quote-unquote actual release.
Yeah.
Like, they have the tools right now, or not the tools necessarily, but like they have the momentum to really build something that will stick around for a long time. Like, I just really doubt they'll be able to do it, but it's possible. Like, they have the momentum right now. Like, there is a possible future where I see this just becoming like a live service game that people mention in the same breath as like Apex Legends or something.
They would just have to gear up so much. Like, I mean, that studio would have to change overnight for that to happen. Like, completely change overnight, I think.
But that's the thing with the money they're making. They could change overnight.
Yeah. But they could also just walk away.
Like, they could just walk away. Like, they could just be like, this is the game, we're done. We're going to retire and just live our lives now.
They could just, like, quote unquote finish it. They could get it to the finish line. Like, you know, I mean,
this is any developer's dream.
Yeah.
Like, they're set. If they want to be done, they're done.
And they were a deeply profit-motivated company. They were not like, you know, in interviews, they've said we didn't have a creative vision. We just wanted to make a game that people wanted to play.
I mean,
kudos for being honest, I guess.
There's nothing wrong with making games that people want to play.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but it also, like, puts a bad taste in my mouth to not have a vision.
I mean, that's a pretty normal thing in AAA, too.
No.
Yeah, and it puts a bad... I mean, yeah, Call of Duty games, but,
Call
like,
of Duty,
I don't like those either.
EA throws out. Like, we don't have a creative vision. We just like money.
EA games have vision sometimes.
EA has improved, and you know this, Mike.
EA has a lot of different games.
I know Mike has it out for AAA games.
I've been diving into Sims content, and oh dear God, is the community not
The Sims
loving
The Sims
EA
has
right
no
now.
vision, but like Yakuza has a vision, obviously.
Yeah,
like,
I mean that's because it's a Yakuza game.
Elden Ring had vision. Tears of the Kingdom had vision.
I've been saying Yakuza were good games for over a year, and no one was listening to me until Infinite Wealth came out.
I'm not even saying Yakuza are good games because I can't get past the tutorial in Man Who Erased His Name because it hits me with boring hour-long cutscenes. But
just play Zero. Zero's such a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone says to play like
you
every time a new
play them
Yakuza
like
game
slowly,
comes
though.
out.
You just don't binge all the Yakuza games because you're gonna hate yourself.
Right.
Just play like Zero and then wait a little bit and then play the next one. Like they're not going anywhere.
But man, like 90 plus for Yakuza 8, I guess technically we're on now.
Yeah.
I don't
Like
know.
a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which is just the coolest name for a video game ever.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be day one Game Pass though, and it's not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Yakuza devs are pretty friendly with Xbox, so that's kind of surprising.
Yeah, I really expect because so many. I mean, the Man Who Erased His Name was day one Game Pass, I think, but
Was Man Who Erased His Name like a mainline Yakuza game though?
I have no idea
technically, yeah.
No. Yakuza 7 was Yakuza Like a Dragon. So this is the official next Yakuza game. Because there's like so many Yakuza spin-offs, it's like hard to keep track of.
Yeah.
But I think this is the first like actual mainline game since Yakuza 7 Like a Dragon.
Yeah, Man Who Erased His Name's a spin-off, technically.
Okay.
Infinite Wealth.
Yeah. I know the main character's name is Ichiban. That's all I know about it.
Mm-hmm.
Ichiban?
Yeah,
Ichiban.
Man Who Erased His Name
like
follows Kiryu,
number one.
who's
His name is number 1?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
the Like a Dragon Gaiden follows the story of Kiryu, who is the protagonist of the first 7 games. And
Right.
Like a Dragon was what started with Ichiban and changed it into a turn-based RPG instead of a brawler.
Yeah, one of these days, like, I do mean to play it. I just don't know if I could stomach 8 50-hour games.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I might play 0
That
and then
is
just skip
why-
to the turn-based games.
No, that is why you play them very slowly. You play a Yakuza game like once a year. I'm not kidding. Do not try to just binge them.
Yeah, but like at the rate they pump them out, you'll never catch up.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Like you play once a year, but like every year they release like 2 games.
No, the last one was 2 years ago. 4 years ago, actually. Yeah, like
Infinite, or no, not Infinite Wealth. The Man Who Erased His Name wasn't 4 years ago, right? Like,
Yeah,
that was
no,
pretty
that was
recent.
last year, but that's a spin-off, and that's not part of the main story. That takes place during Like a Dragon. The last mainline one was 4 years ago.
From an outsider's perspective, Yakuza definitely feels like that series where, like, if you miss the train, it's just going to be impossible to get on it.
I think they release like a mainline game every 4 years, so you can eventually catch up.
I'm just gonna skip the Like a Dragon or Infinite Wealth.
Just skip straight to Yakuza 8.
Yeah, why not? They're not. It's not
The
that,
8th entry.
It's just not that kind of game.
Yeah, I mean, they have a story, but like,
it is actually
that's
there
not
is
really
one
why
large
people are into
canon.
Yakuza, right?
Yeah, and I know it has a story, but I think its story is stupid, and I don't care. Like, at least from everything I saw in the 2 Yakuza games I've played, it's like so boring. Like,
I mean,
it's
what
so
did you play?
boring. I can't remember. I think I played Zero, and then I played Manu Erased
I
His
love
Name.
how goofy Zero's story gets.
I just
No, but that's the thing. Like, the goofiness is why these games are
the goofiness is the
popular.
fun part. What I don't like is when it spends 40 minutes to an hour talking about stupid Yakuza politics. And I hear Infinite Wealth just doesn't do that. So
Plus, it takes place in like Honolulu or something.
yeah, well, I think it takes place on a few different continents.
What a game.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah, maybe.
Allegedly.
I'll probably play it eventually.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, do we have any last thoughts on Palworld? Like, it's not, if you'd asked me predictions for this year, and which we did do predictions for this year, it'll come out the following week. But like something like this, just at the start of the year, throws everything into a loop. Like, what a weird release.
Yeah.
Like, it came out of it
Came
didn't
out
come
of
out of
left
nowhere,
field
but like
and just-
it came out of left field and just took over the world.
Legitimately surprised me, who was expecting it. Like,
I am going to be curious to see, like, I'm going to follow the numbers very closely because it's just fascinating to see how big this thing will get.
yeah, as of recording, it sold 6 million and it hit almost 2 million peak last night.
That's like, it's a weekday, man. Like, that's crazy.
Like on a Tuesday, like a couple hours ago. Or no, it was at 9 a.m. on Tuesday. It hit a peak of 1.8 million. Like, that is
9 a.m.
nuts.
Are kids just like faking sick to play
It
this
might be
game or
Japan.
something? Oh, yeah.
9 a.m. our time would
Asian
be like
countries, too.
Yeah, this game probably has a massive Japanese audience.
Actually
Which
insane
makes
if
sense.
it does, though, because Japanese people don't play on PC or Xbox.
That's
Which
true.
is
Yeah.
wild. But I think Palworld is single-handedly bringing it.
This thing is selling so many Steam Decks, I bet.
I hear it's not that good on Steam Deck. I don't know if you could confirm.
I can't because I play it on Game Pass.
Oh, right. You did say that.
Yeah.
It does seem like the only decent version of this game is on Steam.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, once we finish this, I'm probably
America's
gonna
their biggest audience.
play some more.
Hold on.
Yeah, for sure, America's their biggest
love
audience,
to
dude.
See,
Like,
I'd love to see a breakdown of sales. But like 1.8 million peak at 9 a.m. our time? Nuts. Unless
Yeah.
it's 9 a.m. this time. About 10 hours ago, so yeah. About 9 a.m. our time.
yeah, I definitely think we'll see the true peak maybe this Friday or Saturday. I'm just curious to see how high it'll go. It might set the record for like most concurrent players ever in a game
Like,
in Steam's history.
I thought it was going to be bad on release, and I thought it was going to be like, oh, I'm going to buy it, and I'm just going to be funny and haha, and then I'm going to quit it. And then I started hearing the content creators, and they're like, this is good. This is good. Not a single one of them was like, this is a bad game. And now it's
Yeah, the content
huge.
creators really took to it. It was the most streamed category on Twitch. Like, it was like doing way better than just chatting, which is like historically the number one category. So
Yeah.
it's just on top of the world right now. Like, I'll say again, like, I had no idea. Like, and that's what I love, right? Like, I love it when I just don't know anything about a game and just buy it blindly, close to blindly at least,
good
and then
feeling.
just get sucked into it.
I think the best time I've ever done that was I was in a retro game shop and they had a copy of Blaster Master and I just picked it up out of nowhere. I'd never heard of it. And that game slaps on NES.
Blaster Master.
Yeah, on the Nintendo Entertainment System.
It sounds like an NES game.
Yeah, no, it's
that title.
about a kid named Billy who drives a tank to save his beloved pet frog.
As you should.
Yeah, it's really good, guys.
To your point about the Nintendo lawyers, Connor, I think you do have a good point in which they would send their ninjas after them, like,
Instantly.
in an instant.
like, this game
If it
wouldn't
really
have
was a
released
problem.
if Nintendo didn't like it.
Case in point, there was a guy who made a mod for this game. Did you hear about this?
Yeah.
In which basically all the pals just became Pokemon.
And the main character
And-
became Ash.
And the main character, and Misty was there with like a P90
Uh-huh.
or something. Brock was in the game.
And Nintendo
Jesse was the first boss with
Nintendo's
Electabuzz.
like, the Nintendo's come for me.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Nintendo iced him like that.
got the
If
MCA,
Nintendo cared enough and they knew that they could get money out of it and kill it, they would have already. Like,
the dude's an idiot for talking about the mod before it was done, by the way.
That's crazy. Yeah, he tweeted it out.
Oh, wait, they also went after him because it was hidden behind his Patreon.
Yeah.
You had to pay to get it, so Nintendo just shut him down.
So many errors on his part.
But yeah.
Like, I'm sure, like, what he's doing will eventually exist, but, like, he didn't, he just went about it the total wrong way.
Yeah, Nintendo is litigious, like, hard. And, like, I don't think this game's gonna get sued. I don't think Nintendo cares enough.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, them going after this modder and not the actual game itself, I think speaks volumes about what they're gonna do, which is to say nothing.
Yeah.
It's in that point, like, it's in the same position I think the Switch 2 coming out this year is for me, which is like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, a lawsuit comes down the line, but I also will not be surprised at all if it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm just totally not connected to it anymore.
Yeah, Switch 2, yeah, I mean, we've talked about the Switch 2 for years at this point, but I do believe this is the year.
Maybe.
Yeah, knowing Nintendo, they'll delay it just to spite me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Palworld. Who would have thought?
And it's wild, because even all my coworkers were playing it, and that's even more, like, out there.
Yeah, I saw people on my friends list who I never see online playing Palworld. Like,
yeah, I walked into work and everyone's like, Palworld's really good. I'm like, you too?
Yeah, like, I don't know. It's just it's the perfect storm of, like, the kids really like it, and if the kids really like it, it's going to go viral one way or another.
Yeah,
streamers all like it, which helps it escalate even further, and the game just in general seems to be pretty good. So, all that together is a recipe for massive success.
Yeah.
All right. Any last thoughts on the game before we move on?
Nope.
All right. Have we been playing anything besides Palworld?
Nope.
I gave the finals a shot.
Oh yeah.
It is not what I expected. I don't know why I thought it was like an Escape from Tarkov kind of game. I don't know why I believe.
Is it not an FPS?
It is an FPS.
It's not an extraction shooter.
It's
though.
not an extraction shooter. No, it is like a money objective type thing. Like there are vault. You have to go in. It's not that good. I'll say it now. It doesn't. I don't think that the game design of this game really adds up, because it has like the main game mode, as far as I can tell. There's a couple different ones, and I don't really like any of them all that much in retrospect. But you run in. And you have to grab this vault, and you have to wait for a timer for the vault to open. And then now that the vault is open, you have to take it to an extraction point, which is why I thought it was an extraction shooter. And you grab the vault, you take it there, and then now you have to defend it. And at any point, another team can come in and change it, and the timer doesn't reset. So, like, it really, really encourages you to just swoop in at the last second and change it. And as a result, 90% of gameplay doesn't matter at all. Like, the only gameplay that matters is those last, like, 60 seconds before the timer goes off. Like,
that's really weird.
Because it doesn't have, like, there's, like, some setup. Like, you can build turrets and stuff, but, like, by and large, I didn't feel like my setup mattered at all. It just felt like... And maybe I'm just bad at the game. Maybe there's a meta that I'm not understanding or something. But, like, we won a round or two, and it didn't feel that good to win. It didn't feel that bad to lose.
Yeah, I know this game is like really hot right now. I just didn't know anything about it.
It has like an unhinged class system, which like you're either a medium, a heavy, or a light. And the light characters are just really short, and the heavy characters are just really tall and bulky. And like, I don't know. I mostly played medium, which is probably the most boring class, but I don't know. I didn't like the other two that much. The heavies have, like, these hammers, which is, like... The medium doesn't have any melee. Your melee doesn't damage anything at all, which I kept, like, running out of ammo, because I only had one gun. You don't have a sidearm. So I would empty my gun, and then I would melee as, like, a reflex, and it just doesn't do anything, and then I would get shot
No
and
sidearm, what?
Yeah, I had no sidearm. I don't know if any of the classes have a sidearm, but the medium doesn't. The heavy has, like, a hammer. The light can like turn invisible sometimes, which felt really overpowered because I would just get shot and not know where it was coming from. It just, I don't know. It's a really pretty game. Like, it's visually spectacular, I would say. But I probably won't ever turn it on again.
Did you notice anything about the announcing?
No. It just...
Like
I'm told it was AI
generated. Because the announcing
generated.
was allegedly AI.
I don't know. I didn't notice.
That's troubling.
Well, it doesn't... Yeah, it might be AI generated. Like, it just doesn't sound... Like, it's not that good. Like,
yeah.
It just sounds... I don't know.
Yeah, so...
I just don't care. It wasn't that good.
Yeah, so... I've heard this game in passing just because it's popular, but this is the first time I've heard the game talked about.
Yeah.
So why do you think it's popular?
I don't think it's popular.
Like
I don't think that...
You don't think it's popular?
Yeah. It's an Exxon game, by the way. But I don't...
Oh, no way.
Yeah. I don't think that many people are playing it. I know one streamer that plays it occasionally, which is... I watched him for his Sea of Thieves content, and because he liked that, I expected this to have, like, any similarity at all to that. Now, obviously, it doesn't. I don't understand why anybody would ever play this game.
Oh,
honestly.
that's scathing.
Wow.
The shooting is, like, fun, but, like, we turned it off and played Halo Infinite, and all I could think is, like, God, why were we ever playing that other game? Because...
So, just out of curiosity, right now, according to Steam, there's 42,000 people playing the finals.
That's crazy.
Is that a lot?
I mean,
I don't
it's
know.
more than I would expect when, like,
More than
Fortnite
you expect,
exists. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
Or Halo
and
Infinite
the peak
is free.
was 242K, which I don't know. I think these are good numbers, but they're certainly not like Apex, Fortnite level numbers.
What's just out of curiosity? What's Halo Infinite at right now?
Let's see. Halo Infinite. All right. Halo Infinite right now on Steam. Well, it's on Steam though, so it might be lower, but it's only 4.6 thousand.
See, that's just diabolical to me because Halo has a mode called Extraction that is just very...
The all-time peak though is basically the same number as the finals, which is interesting.
That's wild. Yeah, I don't know. I just...
On Steam though. So like I feel like Halo's definitely
Halo's
bigger.
higher, yeah, because the finals is Steam only, I think. I just don't get it. Maybe I'm
Well,
missing
actually,
something.
the finals is on console as well.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess it's impossible to know the true numbers but we can use Steam as a benchmark.
It also has crossplay. My buddy was playing it on Xbox with me, but I didn't get the finals. I don't know. Like, we went in really hot on it. Like, the shooting is good, the mechanics are good, all of that. But I think the game design is not good, and you just can't really come back from that.
And that's why Palworld's doing well, because the game design is actually good. Somehow. Well, everything else is kind of mediocre, but the game design, rock solid.
But I don't even saying that I don't know why anybody would play the final sounds like a really scathing review, but it is actually more just me like, yeah, it feels good to play, but I don't understand why you would play it over other games because I genuinely don't get it. Like, I don't see the fun that much. And it's not that I don't think it's there. It's that I genuinely just don't get it.
Maybe you're just too old. Ever thought of that?
I am a boomer, yeah. The ripe old age of 27, I think.
Dude, this is a total aside, not even video game related. But recently, my friends and I discovered Gen Alpha humor.
Oh, God. Like Skibbity Toilet and stuff?
Yeah, we discovered Skibbity Toilet, and it was the most awful thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I just don't understand in what world. Like, if I'm thinking this as a millennial, like as a young millennial watching this, like, what would my boomer parents think if I showed them Skibbity Toilet? It might as well be made by aliens.
It'll fry their brains.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I had the boomer thought where, like, we watched like an hour's worth of episodes, by the way. So there is something to it.
Why did you do this?
We just couldn't look away after a certain point. But, like, it really made me think, like, wow, there really is no hope for the next generation. Which is not what I'm sure boomers thought about us. So,
you know, I'm starting to see how you weren't able to finish Tears of the Kingdom in time.
I get distracted, man. I do.
It's fine to be distracted,
but
it's not fun to be distracted by actual certified garbage.
I get distracted by all sorts of stuff. Well, it was a sort of morbid curiosity.
Yeah. I
just sort of turned into like
I remember what I was into, in high school and stuff, I have no room to dunk on Gen Alpha. Like,
really though?
I mean, like,
I don't know.
I wasn't into it, but like, Annoying Orange was big when we were in school. Like, and that was terrible. Like that there's no way Skibidi Toilet is worse than Annoying Orange or Fred.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
It's just impossible. You can't convince me. So, you know.
But yeah, like after a point, we just sort of made a game out of like trying to figure out what was happening.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, at least
anyways,
Skibidi Toilet has lore.
It does, weirdly enough.
Yeah. The kids yearn.
But
for
I don't
lore.
want to talk about this anymore. Otherwise, I'll have to label a section on this episode Skibidi Toilet, and we're not doing that.
What, Skibidi Toilet?
All right. Mike, you playing anything else?
No, I haven't played anything other than Palworld.
All right, I have one other game, but I think I'm just going to save it for next week. Let Palworld have its time in the sun.
The poor listeners are going to have to wait 2 weeks.
Oh, right, because the one we recorded... Well, for the listener, they're not going to experience any break.
Yeah.
So, that's something at least.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you all for listening. You can follow us at @Podcast Game Talk on Twitter. Please like, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, or any other podcast services you use. Click the link in the description to join our Discord and talk to us there. Thank you, Connor and Mike.
Yeah, see you guys next time.
See you next week. Bye.